All right, let's jump into it today. You ready for a deep dive?
Let's dive in.
Awesome. So today we're exploring this language learning technique
Okay.
called shadowing. Ever heard of it?
I have. I have heard of shadowing.
Yeah, we've got some really interesting stuff about it from this language teacher named Sam.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all about like sounding more natural when you speak a language
Yeah.
and being able to keep up with those real life conversations where things move fast.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It can be tough. So, so what is shadowing? I mean, how would you describe it?
Well, I think what makes shadowing so cool is that it kind of takes you past what you read in the textbook. It helps you feel the language like
Yes.
internally.
Oh, I
It's
like
like,
that.
it's like bridging the gap between knowing the rules and then like actually like feeling them when you speak.
Okay. So Sam describes it as like listening really closely to native speakers, and then you imitate, their speech patterns, how they say things, the rhythm,
Right.
the intonation, all of that.
It's about absorbing all those nuances, right? The things that really make the language come alive.
Nuances. Okay. So for someone who's like, wait, what are nuances? Like, what are we talking about here? Give us some concrete examples. What kind of things should we be paying attention to?
Okay, so let's say you're learning Italian, right?
Yeah.
If you're shadowing native speakers, you'll start to notice how they kind of stretch out vowels at the end of words and how that can change the meaning
Hmm.
or even like the emotion behind what they're saying.
Oh, wow.
Or let's say you're tackling Japanese. You'll pick up on those super subtle pitch changes that can totally transform what a word means.
Yeah.
These are the things that you don't always get from a textbook, but they make all the difference when it comes to sounding natural and really understanding native speakers.
It sounds like you're saying it's like learning to dance to the music of the language, not just memorizing the steps, but actually feeling the rhythm.
Exactly.
But okay, so how does that actually help us understand those real-life conversations better?
Well, in everyday conversations, you got idioms, you got slang, all this stuff that kind of bends the rules of grammar.
Yeah.
But when you shadow, you start to get a feel for all these subtle cues, like you're training your ear to pick up on them, which helps you understand what's really being said.
Okay.
There's actually some really cool research on this in cognitive science.
Oh, tell me more.
Yeah. They found that shadowing actually helps to train our working memory.
Wow.
Specifically, this part of our brain called the phonological loop, which is key for processing spoken language.
Ah.
So
Right
the
on.
more you shadow, the better your brain gets at holding on to and making sense of all those sounds.
So it's like you're building up muscle memory, but for language.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
exactly.
So Sam talks about shadowing being almost like this life-changing thing for fluency and comprehension.
Right.
Have you seen this in action?
Oh, I've seen it firsthand. I knew someone who was really struggling with Spanish. I mean, they could read and write fairly well, but
Right.
conversations were just a blur, They could never keep up.
Yeah.
But then they started shadowing, and it was like a switch flipped.
Wow.
They could follow conversations so much easier. They even started joking around with locals. Their pronunciation got way better.
Wow.
Their confidence just skyrocketed.
That's incredible. And Sam also recommends starting with short sentences and phrases, right?
Oh, for sure.
Gradually building up to those longer dialogues.
Yeah.
It's like a good warm-up routine for your tongue.
Yeah, I think that's a great starting point. And one thing I would add to that is, if you can, try to find audio materials that also have transcripts.
Ooh, yeah.
That way you can actually check how accurately you're shadowing and see how much progress you're making.
That's a good tip. I can see how working with those longer dialogues could be more engaging, though, for some learners. It really depends on your learning style, right?
Oh, absolutely. I
Yeah.
think it's all about finding what works best for you.
Right. Okay, so imagine you're learning French, right? You've got these little audio clips of native speakers talking.
Mm-hmm.
You're shadowing them. You're paying attention to their pauses, to how they're stressing certain words,
Right.
the rise and fall of their voice. And suddenly, you're not just repeating words.
Right.
You're starting to feel the language like flowing through you.
That's the beauty of shadowing. It becomes less about just mimicking
Yeah.
and more about really embodying the essence of the language.
It's almost like you're channeling the language.
Yeah.
Wow, this is really cool stuff. So to
Okay.
kind of sum it all up,
Yeah.
shadowing is about going way beyond what's in the textbooks.
Okay.
Right.
Definitely.
And getting that real feel for the music, the nuances,
Mm-hmm.
the soul of the language.
I think one thing to remember, though, is while shadowing is super powerful,
Yeah.
it shouldn't be the only tool in your language learning toolbox. Combining it with things like grammar study, vocab building,
Right.
that creates a much more well-rounded approach.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
But here's something to think about. What if, instead of just learning a language,
Mm.
we could actually inhabit it, through this kind of deep listening and imitation?
Mm-hmm.
What new possibilities might that open up for us?
Yeah.
What kind of connections could we make?
Yeah.
It's something to ponder as you continue on your language learning adventure.
Definitely.
Keep exploring, keep shadowing, and most importantly, have fun with it.
Absolutely. Have fun.
Until next time.
See ya.
Bye.